Astrology is the study of how the stars and planets might influence human life. Its story starts a very long time ago, with ancient people who watched the sky. The Babylonians living in Mesopotamia thousands of years ago were some of the first great astronomers. They carefully tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and the 5 planets they could see: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They created the zodiac, a belt of constellations that the sun appears to travel through during the year. For them, these celestial movements were messages from the gods, helping them predict events on Earth like floods, harvests, or the fate of their kings. It was a way to understand a powerful and mysterious universe. From Babylonia, these ideas about the stars traveled to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians already had a deep connection to the sky. They used the star Sirius to predict the annual flooding of the Nile River, which was essential for their farming and survival. When they learned about Babylonian astrology, they mixed it with their own beliefs. The Egyptians were particularly interested in how the stars could be used for personal matters, not just for the king or the country. They developed the idea of decans, which were groups of stars used to tell time at night. This combination of Babylonian observation and Egyptian personal focus helped shape what we now know as horoscopic astrology, the kind that creates a chart for an individual's birth. Later, these astrological traditions reached ancient Greece. The Greeks were great thinkers and philosophers who loved logic and mathematics. When they encountered the ideas from Babylon and Egypt, they sought to create a more structured system. Thinkers like Ptolemy, who lived in the 2nd century AD, wrote a famous book called the Tetrabiblos. This book became the foundation of Western astrology for over 1,000 years. Ptolemy explained how to cast a horoscope, a map of the sky at the moment of a person's birth. He connected the planets and zodiac signs with specific traits and meanings, creating a complete and complex system that tried to explain a person's character and destiny. The Greeks combined the observational skills of the Babylonians with their own love for philosophy and geometry. They gave the planets the names of their own gods, like Mars for the god of war and Venus for the goddess of love. This made the planets feel more like active forces with distinct personalities. They believed that the universe was an orderly place, a cosmos, and that understanding the heavens was key to understanding life on Earth. This Greek system, with its focus on the individual birth chart and mathematical precision, is the direct ancestor of the astrology that is popular in the Western world today. It was the final piece of the ancient puzzle, setting the stage for astrology's long journey through history. After its beginnings in the ancient world, astrology did not stay in one place. It traveled along trade routes and was carried by scholars to many different parts of the world. In India, a unique and powerful system called Vedic astrology, or Jyotisha, developed. While it shared some roots with Greek astrology, such as the 12 zodiac signs, it became very different. Vedic astrology uses the sidereal zodiac, which is based on the fixed positions of the constellations. Unlike the tropical zodiac used in the West, Jyotisha is deeply connected to Hindu philosophy, including ideas of karma and reincarnation. It is considered a sacred science, used to understand a person's life path and to find auspicious times for important events like weddings or starting a business. At the same time, the Islamic world became a major center for learning and science during the European Middle Ages. Arab and Persian scholars translated the great works of the Greeks, including Ptolemy's Tetrabiblos, into Arabic. They preserved this ancient knowledge and also added their own discoveries. They were brilliant mathematicians and astronomers, and they refined the tools used to study the stars, such as the astrolabe. For them, astrology was a respected science, sitting alongside astronomy, medicine, and mathematics. Great cities like Baghdad and Damascus were hubs where scholars debated and developed astrological theories, influencing everything from medicine to politics. Their work was essential in keeping astrology alive and vibrant. This knowledge eventually made its way back into Europe during the late Middle Ages and the Renaissance. The Arabic translations of Greek texts were translated again, this time into Latin, bringing astrology back to European universities. During the Renaissance, a time of great art and discovery, astrology was extremely popular. It was not seen as separate from science. Many famous astronomers, including Johannes Kepler, were also practicing astrologers. Kings, queens, and even popes had their own court astrologers to help them make important decisions. Astrology was part of medicine, as doctors believed that the planets influenced different parts of the body. It was a serious and respected field of study. However, each culture adapted astrology to fit its own beliefs and worldview. While Western astrology focused on personality and psychological traits, Indian astrology focused on karma and destiny across lifetimes. In China, a completely different system of astrology developed independently. Chinese astrology is based on a 12-year cycle, with each year represented by an animal. It is connected to the Chinese calendar and the philosophy of yin and yang and the 5 elements. This shows that while the desire to find meaning in the stars is universal, the way people do it is shaped by their own unique history and culture, creating a rich tapestry of astrological traditions around the globe. The high status of astrology began to change with the scientific revolution in the 17th and 18th centuries. A new way of thinking, based on observation, experimentation, and physical laws, started to take hold. Scientists like Isaac Newton discovered principles like gravity, which explained the movements of the planets in a purely physical way. The old idea that planets were influences with divine personalities no longer fit this new mechanical view of the universe. The telescope revealed that the cosmos was much larger and more complex than previously imagined, making Earth seem less like the center of everything. As a result, astronomy and astrology, which had been partners for centuries, went their separate ways. Astronomy became the scientific study of celestial objects, while astrology was increasingly seen as a superstition. During the period known as the Enlightenment, reason and logic were celebrated above all else. Thinkers of this era dismissed astrology as an unproven belief from a less enlightened time. It lost its place in universities and was no longer considered a serious intellectual pursuit by the educated elite. For about 200 years, astrology largely disappeared from public life and was practiced only by a small number of enthusiasts. It was no longer a guide for kings or a subject for scholars, but a relic of a past worldview that science seemed to have left behind. However, astrology did not disappear completely. It found a new life in the 20th century, not as a science but as a form of popular entertainment and personal guidance. This revival began in newspapers. In the 1930s, a British newspaper published a horoscope for the newborn Princess Margaret, and it was so popular that the paper decided to create a regular column with predictions for all 12 zodiac signs. This was the birth of the modern sun sign horoscope. It was simple, easy to understand, and accessible to everyone. Soon, newspapers and magazines all over the world were printing daily horoscopes, bringing astrology back into the daily lives of millions of ordinary people. The rise of the internet in the late 20th and early 21st centuries gave astrology another massive boost. Websites, blogs, and social media made astrological information instantly available to anyone with a connection. Instead of just a short newspaper column, people could now access detailed birth charts, compatibility reports, and daily transit updates with a few clicks. Astrology apps on smartphones brought personalized horoscopes directly into our pockets. This new wave of digital astrology became especially popular with younger generations who used it as a tool for self-exploration, a way to understand relationships, and a fun language for talking about personality, often shared through memes and viral content. Today, astrology is more popular than it has been in centuries, but it is also a subject of great debate. For many people, astrology is a valuable tool for self-discovery. They feel that their birth chart provides a useful framework for understanding their own strengths, weaknesses, and personality traits. It can feel validating to read a description of your zodiac sign and see your own character reflected in it. In a world that can often feel chaotic and random, astrology can offer a sense of meaning and purpose. It suggests that there is a larger cosmic order and that each person has a unique place within it. This can be a source of comfort and guidance for navigating life's challenges. On the other hand, many people, especially in the scientific community, are highly critical of astrology. They argue that there is no scientific evidence to support its claims. Numerous studies have tried to find a correlation between planetary positions and human personality or life events, and they have consistently failed to find any statistically significant connection. From a scientific perspective, the idea that distant planets could exert a specific influence on a person's life at the moment of birth has no known physical mechanism. Critics view astrology as a pseudoscience, something that looks like science but is not based on the scientific method. They worry that it encourages uncritical thinking and can lead people to make poor decisions based on superstition. Despite this criticism, astrology continues to thrive, often by integrating with other fields like psychology and wellness. Many modern astrologers see the birth chart not as a rigid prediction of fate, but as a symbolic map of a person's psychological potential. They use it in a way that is similar to personality tests like the Myers-Briggs, as a language for exploring the self. Astrology is often blended with practices like mindfulness, therapy, and life coaching. In this context, it is not about predicting the future, but about gaining self-awareness and personal growth. This modern psychological approach has helped astrology find a new sense of relevance and purpose for many people today. Ultimately, the enduring appeal of astrology lies in the human need for meaning, connection, and understanding. Whether seen as a genuine cosmic truth, a symbolic language for the human psyche, or simply a fun form of entertainment, it provides a way to talk about who we are and our place in the universe. The debate between believers and skeptics will likely continue, but astrology's long history shows its remarkable ability to adapt and find new meaning in a changing world. From ancient tablets to modern apps, the story of astrology is really a story about humanity's timeless fascination with the stars and the search for our own reflection in the cosmos.